Yeah, so anyway, we should be going live here in just a little bit.
I think we're already live.
No, we're not live yet,
I,
but what we
I think we're live right now.
well, no, I didn't hit the button. But anyway, it's going to be we'll talk about, like what you've been able to do to kind of build your career as a
Are you
sports
are you sure we're not live?
I don't what are you seeing?
It looks like it says live.
Oh, we better cue up the music, brother. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Bobby Warren, and you are watching the After Journalism YouTube channel. And I have a special guest with me, none other than Anthony, the Sauce God, Bomasuto. Did I get your name right, Paisan?
Paisano, yes, you did very, very much. Thank you for having me this evening, bud.
All right. So, Anthony and I, we connected last year. And was it on the AFC East Facebook page?
I believe it was that AFC East discussion where everybody's kind of talking smack. Actually, somebody
Yeah.
gave me the idea to go on there and say, "Hey, I need a couple of Patriots fans," and I believe that's how we actually got linked up.
Yeah, and so I was on your old show. It was man, it was a great time. You're a big time Buffalo Bills fan. You guys crushed my Patriots in good weather. We beat you in the wind, but
You
that
guys,
was it.
you made us look stupid in cold weather, though. Like in that windy game.
Oh man, then you boys didn't punt during the playoffs. Oh, but anyway, we connected right as rivals, and I think as well as you can over Facebook, we've become friends. We support one another's endeavors, and so the other day I'm just cruising around Facebook because part like after journalism is one of my side projects, and what it is I want to try to connect with journalists who want to leave traditional journalism or journalists who left the industry and try to figure out what to do next. Because I've been able to build a fairly decent career outside of journalism. In So it involves search engine optimization, a little bit of web design, not a lot. That's not my forte. Social media management, which I've got a few select clients, and now I outsource, or actually I refer that work to others. I got a couple friends who own their own companies, and so my goal is just to help people in media get to somewhere else. And I was so impressed with what you were doing, Anthony, what you were doing on your old show. And I tell you, I saw a rise in talent, and I'm like, I'm going to stick close to this man right here. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, and while I drink some iced coffee.
Well, I think it's always best to be an open book. So, I always like to tell people, I didn't go to college. Well, I did go to college, but I was a college dropout. But I actually originally went to college for broadcasting and journalism. It was something I always had a passion for. Just something that I was naturally just really good at. And when especially when it came to sports and the Buffalo Bills. So, fast forward to I was, I believe, 25. No, I was 20. Yeah, I was 25. Turning 26, and the pandemic hit, and that kind of actually, fortunately, gave me time and gave me the ability to, at that point, kind of work on what I built into is what I is the game book, which is a Facebook page. That's how it started, and the concept of that was supposed to be um, me and my friends kind of playing video games and playing, podcasting at the same time. But I didn't know anything about it. And then, fast forward to like 6 months later, I decided, I want a podcast. I want to cover the Bills. I got to start doing something. And I think that was the first step for me was I built that page, and I started inviting Bills fans to it. And Bobby, it's funny because I remember my very first live, we were using Zoom, and I had this old laptop. It literally took me an hour to press go live on Zoom with all my friends on call to Facebook. No overlays, nothing. I was clueless, but I was started. And so, I mean, that's kind of what led to the page starting at that point. But, there's a lot of work that went into it to kind of get to where I'm at.
Yeah, and so my interest, while I'm focused on journalists who want to leave traditional journalism, what I discovered with you is that you are paving a way kind of to your own career as sort of an independent journalist or an independent sports reporter, producer, multimedia
Hmm.
specialist, or whatever. And like, because like the fact that you don't have a college education, that means you're not going to be like me paying off student loans for the rest of your life, right? Because the cost of college anymore, it's like trying to pay off a mortgage in 10 years, and it's just very difficult, you
And
know?
actually, it's something I wanted to say too. Is it's kind of funny. There's another sort of up and coming. And before we were talking backstage about Buffalo Fanatics was one of those other media sources. And I have a buddy of mine, Kevin Syracuse, who is kind of doing more articles for them. He's trying to get into the live show thing, but doesn't have that kind of experience. But he has a college degree, some stuff with WGR 550. But even then, that's it, it's something I still think I wonder what it could have done for me as well. But it's never going to be an excuse for me to not still pursue exactly what I do, and that's the important thing.
Right. Yeah, because like as I'm trying to show journalists, like, look, there's a life beyond that newsroom. So I come from a print journalism background, right? And when you're working for the man, right? You're getting vacation, you're getting if the company's big enough, you're getting vacation, you're getting health insurance, you're getting sick days, you're getting 401k, or something like that. When I left journalism, I walked away from all that. I have no benefits, right? It's just me working, me grinding. And if there's anything grinding, because you're a grinder, and say that in the best possible light. And so my wife and I, we're going to Maine, we're going to Vermont, we're going to Massachusetts, where I grew up. I grew up in Severe, Revere, Massachusetts. Revere is the first public beach in the United States. And so when we go, guess what? I'm taking my laptop with me. I got to work on the road, right? So it's just the way it is. It's the reality. But I tell you what, I wouldn't change any of it. Like, even in a bad year, I'm making like twice what I made as a journalist,
Hmm.
right? And if you're smart, and or if you have a spouse who's still working for the man, right? Still, work is like a school teacher or something. The
Something, right?
benefits, the benefits are there, right? And but I tell you, I just wouldn't trade it. And so tell me, like, so you started off like with one show, and now you're on another one, right? And I saw you and Caleb. What is it? The sit down.
The sit down, yes. Friday
Uh,
nights.
what's that?
It's on Friday nights. The sit down.
The sit down. And really, we'll have links and descriptions and stuff like that. But I think you and Caleb did a really good job.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of neat to see that what you are building, right? You are building something. You and Caleb are putting something together, and it's just going to continue to get better and better. And like, what I know you said you kind of had like just this natural talent, or affinity, passion for this. But like, how did you get to where you are right now? Because you're with what, built in Buffalo right now?
Yep, I'm with Built in Buffalo.
So how do you get there, you know, just from being this guy who's beating up on Patriot fans on Facebook, man?
I think honestly, I always believed if there wasn't another page that wanted to, put me onto the spotlight to get to a place where I could, make money and do this at a professional stage, that I could at least put myself in position someday. Now it might not be as it might tougher and I might not have as much guidance. But as I said before, like you said, I'm a grinder. I took advantage of time I had after working, and that requires a lot of sacrifice. I mean, really, you might work a 10-hour workday, but hell, you might really put in 18 hours worth of work when it comes to your side ventures as well. And that's where I thrived. I started learning more about programs like StreamYard instead of using Zoom. I learned about overlays, all that stuff, and it's through trial and error. It's also through hard work and belief in myself. That's the biggest thing I can tell anybody. Believe in yourself first and foremost, especially because I think I used to get very, very disappointed at times because people from my hometown, they know exactly how passionate I am about this stuff, but I don't ever see much support from those people. And I learned to be okay with that. I learned to want to start targeting people that want to listen to my shows, and that you have to believe in yourself when nobody else does. That's the first thing. So going from that page to Built in Buffalo, it was a transition that, like I said, too, I was only willing to do if I had creative freedom, if I was put in the best position to succeed, because at that point I was already enjoying what I was doing and I was actually gaining more momentum as well. But I know that when I first spoke to Dave Myers, the creator and the owner of the page Built in Buffalo, which is on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, he said he had actually been watching me for a few months. He had been paying attention to my content, and I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. I always try to do things as if nobody's watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I used to really get discouraged when I would look at the live, on StreamYard, you see zero live viewers. And I learned to just keep going because at the end of the day, it wasn't about getting paid. It's about having fun and loving what I do. And that's why I love what you said, that you wouldn't trade it. I mean, it's just people think that you have to go to a work for the man 40 hours a week to get your benefits. It's not. You have to just think outside the box sometimes, and that's something that I've done and I'm doing. And yeah, there's times where it's a lot harder, but I definitely would not trade the path that I'm on for anything. And even if it meant it was easier, because I'll tell you what, Bobby, I don't like things in this world if it's easy. It's got to be challenging, but I have to enjoy it because something else I didn't mention is I had a great career before all this. I started in the electricians union apprenticeship when I was 19 years old in Las Vegas, and that right there paid me $20 an hour in my very first job with no experience, with benefits. You're earning a pension, you're getting paid training, and I did that for years, and I enjoyed it, and it was a great career. And I'm not saying anything negative about it at all, but at one point, I just kind of became bored with it, and I lost interest, and in turn, I lost my focus. The thing that I can say about journalism and broadcasting, and especially for the Buffalo Bills, is I love it. I mean, Bobby knows that the Bills, that One Bills Drive is my favorite place in the entire world. I
Uh,
love being there because it's just truly who I am. And another thing, too, I'll say is somebody actually just said this to me in my hometown. I was back there visiting for a moment. And somebody said, I admire your growth. And I said, well, you know, give me like an explanation. They said, well, you grew up in this town as A-Bomb. That was my nickname growing up. And, I had a good reputation in that town, but that town tried to tell me who I was and this and that. And I'm Sauce Guy. That's what I created within myself. And that's what I'm molding myself. And like, the thing that you said, I was an individual journalist, individual reporter. Yeah, that's my brand. The Sauce God is my brand, and that's what anybody out there that wants to do anything that I'm trying to do. Start with that before you work with someone else, because all in all, I think it is important to definitely keep yourself separate, so that way you still have options, you have creative freedom, and that way you're never tying yourself and stopping yourself with just one opportunity.
yeah, and That idea of being that individual, that independent journalist, that you control, what it is you do. And it's unbelievable because I'm a big time Pats fan. Um, and I really think the way all these teams put their press conferences live on Facebook, YouTube, their pages, like I've seriously thought, now I don't have the time to do it and I won't, but it's almost like I can create a Patriots media company, right? From Northeast Ohio where I'm living now, right? And so it's so much easier to do like the things that you want to do, right? As an independent sports journalist, it's so much easier. Look at we pay like, you know, I pay like 200 something dollars a year for StreamYard. They have a free version, right? You can do it for free. You can be broadcasting live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, right?
Twitter, Twitch, all of it, any of it.
For $200 a year with an internet connection and a computer. Like, and who doesn't have that stuff, right? And so, but what I appreciate what you did, and because, I did it myself, is you walked away from something good in the hopes of pursuing something better. Now, my first year out of journalism, it was pretty good. I made about 75% of my journalism income that first year, and I didn't have any clients whatsoever because with journalism, don't get me started, man. You need a high degree of ethics to be a journalist. And I'm sorry, but we're seeing the erosion of ethics in journalism today. I'm not going to mention the Washington Post and all that they've been going through the last couple of weeks, month, or whatever. But so I can't be in a financial relationship with anyone I can potentially cover. So I could not start building booking clients when I was a journalist. I had to wait till I stopped, right? I put out some feelers, let people know what I was doing, but I did not have one client signed up. And so I hit the ground, and it's possible, right? And so, and you're showing people that you're building a sports broadcasting career, you know. Like look at I used to have an office, right? Now I'm just in my home. I'm in my home with a laptop, $200 subscriptions for StreamYard in a year, and we're doing a show. We're doing a show over the internet. So it's like this stuff is doable, but as you said, you got to put the work in because after journalism is my side gig. I got to take care of my clients, and I have been busy as all get out since the beginning of the year. And you and I have tried to do this interview for months.
Mhm.
You would say, "Hey, when are we going to do this?" I'm busy right now. Like, all right, let me know.
I respect
And
that hustle, that grind.
and then I saw you and Caleb. I said, I got to talk to my man. We got to do this finally. So we're not going live with this. This will be broadcast later, but it's on a Sunday night. I sent the Sauce God a message, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you up to right now? Right now?" He's like, "Hey, I'm going out to eat with my mom, but I'll be available later." So here we are on a Sunday
I'm
night,
honored to be here too. Honestly,
getting
it's
it
hey,
done,
where else
man.
would you rather be?
Yeah. So, uh, like, how, like, what advice do you have for people like who, the journalism field right now is tough, right?
Mhm.
And there's a lot of consolidation in the industry, I'm talking about print journalism because that's my background, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of consolidation. Gatehouse Media was buying up all these small things. Gannett, you know, had already gone through all that, and they just got to be so big, and there was nowhere to go that Gatehouse actually bought Gannett and kept the Gannett name. Uh, I don't know if it's because, and talk about ethics. USA Today just had to pull 23 stories because their breaking news reporter was fabricating quotes. Uh, Gannett slash Gatehouse, or I call GateNet, they had wrong data on their for like their analytics,
Mhm.
and so they're charging ad rates for a lot more views than people are actually getting. I'd have to double check. That was in the Wall Street Journal that they're advertising, and um, so what's happening with all this consolidation? Every time Gatehouse would buy a property, you got to pay off that debt. So how do you pay off that debt? You get rid of people. You start jacking up your ad rates. You jack up your subscription rates. Um, you start offering new products, and it just becomes a numbers game. So good people with years and years of experience are getting pushed out, right? And so it's like I'm trying to get them to start their own business. And like, so what, like, I don't know, like, what would you tell them, like, those who are afraid to walk away?
The thing is that people buy into security with, like I said, a steady job so much, and I got to tell you, you can't, because it's like one thing that I absolutely love about the American dream is the American dream is all about what you make of yourself. Now, you can take breadcrumbs or you can eat cake. However, if you want cake, you can't yourself be greedy. You need to know your own worth. Now, the biggest thing that when I say you know your own worth is that I when I spoke with the people from Built in Buffalo, I wouldn't say demands, but I had demands. You know what I mean? That this is what I want, this is what I know I'm worth, and if you can't offer me that, then I'm sorry. I appreciate the time and I appreciate the offer. However, I'm going to have to decline. So before they even made me an offer, I kind of had it in my head that I'm prepared to say no to continue doing my own thing instead of taking a little bit of a jump. You know what I mean? Like where I would be put in position to be monetized and do this with credentials and stuff like that. But however, you know, like I said, I had my demands, and one thing was creative freedom. I wanted to always be in the loop as far as any creative direction the page was going, and I also wanted my opinion to be valued. I One thing that I can say about myself, and it's not something I'm trying to say in an arrogant way, is that I really believe in who I am. I have this confidence about myself, and I'm not afraid to speak my mind because I try to come from a place of logic and sound. I'm respectful first and foremost. I try to stay humble, but the thing is that I know that I can do things that sound crazy, ideas that sound crazy. Organizing a sponsorship between Built in Buffalo and somewhere that I'm actually working on. I wanted to be appreciated for what I could do outside of just my shows and broadcasting because, like I said, you should never limit yourself. I like that you kind of gave me an idea about having my own individual YouTube page still to where maybe I could have some clips or some stuff like that to at least continue branding myself and never limiting myself because the one thing that is so tough when you walk away is that money. Things, everything, but money is important in this world. We all know it. You have to have a side hustle. You have to still, in some ways, you still have to have a different job. It might not be your traditional full time job. Like for me, I chose not to go working in a factory, which is what a lot of people in Buffalo and New York do. And there's no
Yeah,
shame in that. It's
not
just
at all.
me. So I have a little part time gig, and then my other part time gig is sports memorabilia and card sales, which kind of goes hand in hand with my personality for broadcasting. I honestly knew nothing about sports cards, but I had a personality, and people told me, dude, you can literally do anything that you put your mind to. And I remember that every single day. I also, and not to get religious or anything, you know me, I have a real belief in God, and every single day I thank God And I try to
Right.
remember that without God, I'm nothing, man. And
Right.
that's just how I feel because it's what gets me through every single day. I've been through a lot of battles, and like I said, at 22 years old, I was making I think I made $80,000 as an electrician. You know what I mean? I maybe make half that, but I'll tell you what, I'm more happy and I feel more purposeful today. And no one says that it has to stop there. It doesn't have to stop there, but it's not
Right.
what matters most to me. What matters most to me is doing exactly what I love and not letting anybody tell me what I can or can't.
Yeah. So, oh, I want to try to call this website up. It's called Chowder Heads. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna call this website up here. Like okay, so because as you and I are talking, right? So my main business, is falls under the large umbrella of digital marketing, right? And so with after journalism, that's kind of like into affiliate marketing, right? So
Mhm.
one, I want to help people, right? But I want to make a little bit of money. So products I recommend, courses I recommend, software I recommend. If you buy through my website, guess what? I get a little bit of a commission, right?
No
And
commission.
I let people know that up front. So that's affiliate marketing.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to recommend something I wouldn't use myself, right? Um, but anyway, as I'm thinking about you, and if you were to do um, oh, a chowder head, no, if you were to do a YouTube channel and get your own website, right? So
Mhm.
I want to show you something. Share. I'm gonna share this screen with you. All right. So let's see. Let me bring it on. This is one of those things where you don't use StreamYard every day, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna add this to the stream. Okay.
Here we go.
So if you look at this, so chowder heads, right? New England clam chowder. It's all about New England, the Patriots, the Red Sox, the Bruins, the Celtics. But can you look at those? Can you look at those shirts designs and tell me something? Does it there
Wicked
is
Fire.
yeah. So us in Massachusetts we don't pronounce our R's, but there is no licensed designs on any of those. They design their own shirts. Now at Fenway Park, that's the Sitco sign, that red triangle, and it's a Sitco sign. But they put Fenway there, right? I wish I had one of my. I got a hat from Chowder Heads that I love. It was after the New England Patriots won their fourth Super Bowl. Not after they lost their fourth Super Bowl, but after they won their fourth Super Bowl. And it said, you know, New England, four-time Super Bowl champion, had the colors, but the Patriots weren't on there. And
Mhm.
so instead of paying like, 40, $50, I think I paid 20, 25. But if you were to make your own designs built around Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, you know, that that's another source of revenue. S- Uh, all right. So if you get your website, right?
Mhm.
You know, I don't know if you've secured a website or not. If not, we'll talk.
Not yet.
We're going to talk after the show then. But you get your website. Say you come up with a design. Maybe you have this concept. You can't draw anything. You go to Fiverr, get somebody to do it for 20, 25 bucks. They don't work for $5 on Fiverr anymore, right? Fiverr.com. It's like I got some artwork done for a client, like 75 bucks, so forget about Fiverr. So then there's so many print on demand t-shirts you can do. You don't even have to buy inventory, right? So this is just always that like journalists who are leaving could make money. Independent journalists like yourself can make money on your website. You can become an Amazon affiliate. If there's any Buffalo memorabilia on Amazon, if they go shop on Amazon, right, and they click on your link, you might make 3%, 5%, 6%. They've been ratcheting it downwards. I don't. I've only made limited amount of money as an Amazon affiliate. I don't rely on that, but it's just like, just all these little ways that journalists, independent journalists, and people looking for side hustles can make a little bit of extra money. With your expertise in sports broadcasting, there's just so many outlets,
There's different
podcasts.
markets.
Yeah. So the future is bright. That you got to wear shades. Where are your shades, man? I know you got some.
I do have some around here too. But
uh, so what's how did your show go Friday night? I popped in there for a bit. You
yeah.
give me a hard time with Mac Jones and the Patriots.
Well, Bobby, first of all, it was an adjustment because going from saying, we're live here in the game book to we're live here in the sit down. By the way, that show, I'm the one that named the sit down here for the Bills Mafia. You know how it is being Italian. I had to incorporate a little bit of that. It was an adjustment, though, too, because, I had a paid partnership with Super Draft Pro before in the game books, and saying a different partnership was an
Yeah.
adjustment. And obviously, it was me and Caleb's first show. It wasn't our first go. We've had a couple test runs, actually. But I had spoken with him. We were actually in the process of building the show for the last couple of months. And, and I liked what he brought as far as his knowledge. And I thought to myself, the best dynamic that's going to work for him and I is for me to be my personality, him to bring his analysis, because he loves to break the game in numbers. Like, I'm telling you, this kid could work in the front office, and I just like to communicate that to the fans like myself, who might be a little bit more on the dumber side per se, communicating nicely. But I wanted to say too, when you popped in there at that moment, seeing you in there, Bobby, actually kind of made me get into that groove right away. I felt like, it's always nice to see people that really believe in you pop in, but it was an incredible show. The results were really, really great for being brand new. And my biggest thing is that I said is I wasn't trying to get family and friends to come out and watch. I just wanted people that are Bills fans that love the content to come out and watch. But it was a success. There's obviously ways to improve, and I mean, I go back through and I watch myself, and I'm always willing to get better. But it was a moment afterwards. I actually I had a moment where I was kind of holding back tears at the very end, because it was just the first step in my next chapter, and that's to do what I'm doing.
It's exciting to see, because I could tell right away you had talent, man. Like, oh man, some of those game book shows at the end, when you would give your analysis why the Buffalo Bills were going to win, right? I don't think I ever heard you say how they're going to lose, right? You
No,
just
I've
went
never.
you just went to another level, brother. It was just like, man, just it's like,
And
get
I
out of the
know
way,
I
get the
really it's just because I don't know what it is, but at some moment I feel this like something just takes over, and the energy that exists in me is authentic. You know what I mean? It's been like that since I was a kid. And, you just got to be pat. You got to believe in what you're saying. You just have to run with it and not care what people think, and just have confidence when you say it. Believe that. You know what I mean? Believe it and think it to an existence. At least
All
I
right.
try to.
All right, so I want you to give me a somewhat serious face, because I'm gonna let my viewers see what happened when you saw me pop in on your board, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so just go ahead and talk like you were Caleb or something. So anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so all right, guys, welcome to the first edition of the sit down here in the Built in Buffalo Network, live here on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, of course. I am Anthony, the Sauce Guy Bomasuto, live here with my co-host Caleb, of course. And I believe at that point is when you popped in the comments, right?
I popped in the comments and I say,
There's Bob.
it, I said, so you're like, hey, drop your questions in there, and I'm like, is the sauce guy worried about Mac Jones? And this is what you did. You're like, You saw the
Recently, I saw
question.
that.
You
Oh,
saw
I
the
think because
what's that?
I think Caleb was talking at that moment, and I looked at the comments. You know, oh boy, I was like, thank you, Bobby, thank you. That's exactly what I needed to show these people is how I feel about Mac Jones. And oh
Uh,
god, it was just like some gasoline, and I knew that like it was you just like, hey, great job, kid, and like this is just to have some fun for a moment. I love that too because you know I threw you some props and said he might be a Patriots fan, guys. But that
yeah,
guy, he's something out there.
yeah.
Oh
It's like
God,
so. What are my Patriots going this year? We're gonna jump. We're gonna
oh,
jump the shark here. What's
okay.
their record gonna be?
I don't know. The Bills are going to win every single game this year, including the Super
I
Bowl.
didn't ask that question, man.
Honestly, I really okay, but I'm not even trying to sound biased. I was a little shocked with the way that Belichick was drafting. Um,
I don't
I
think he
was
drafted.
doesn't he do the drafting?
I think Matt Groh did it this year.
Well, I was just kind of wondering, you know what I mean? Like, you guys need to get yourself a true number one receiver, and I just haven't seen that done yet. I mean, Mac Jones, in all seriousness, the kid has a really good attitude, and he has a lot of leadership qualities, and that's the first thing that you need to have is belief in your locker room. So I think you guys have that. I don't think, I don't care what people say. I don't think Miami has any sort of confidence in their quarterback in their locker room. I don't even think
Hey,
Tyreek Hill does. And that's just being honest. I mean, I know he said, yeah, he's accurate, but come on, dude, it's real accurate when you're throwing the ball 2 yards versus Patty Mahomes throwing it 65.
yeah.
Um, but I think the Patriots have a legitimate shot, maybe at maybe 10-7, and I mean that's still I think making the playoffs again. I think you guys are definitely gonna. I mean, and I'm not trying to sound biased. I think you guys will finish second in the AFC East to us. Just on paper right now, comparing the teams, I think that you guys are still a better team than Miami and the New Jersey Jets, obviously. So
Yeah.
you see what I
So,
did there.
yeah, I know because you talked about that on the show, so I knew exactly. Hey, you play in New Jersey, you're New Jersey, right?
East Rutherford Jets. Hey,
And the East Rutherford Giants, all right? There's
yeah.
only one, there's only one New York football team, right?
No those baby.
Yeah. So, all right, Anthony, I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you making time for me at the drop of a hat. It is so good to connect with you again because I really enjoyed. You had me on your show 2 times last season. We were, uh, and let's see, the Bills were 2-1 because you beat us in the playoffs and once in the regular season. But I was 1-1 on your show, right?
You were, you were technically 1-1 on the show, and I didn't think we would
Yeah.
be prepared for that one loss.
So it's really good connecting with you. Do you have any parting shots for
Of
our
course.
guests?
I want to say again, thank you, Bobby. It's obviously I miss doing the game book stuff. What I do want to say is I do want to have fans of other teams, especially rival teams, come on to my show in the future. So if you want to leave that door open, of course, you'd be the first person I call. Thank you
Yeah.
for your belief, you support me, and thank you for what you're doing for guys like myself with after journalism. I mean, hell, you made me want to look into it more. And I think that this is a really brilliant and amazing thing that you're doing. So thank you very much for all that you do, Bobby.
Oh, thank you for your kind words. I'm just going to sit back, watch you become a star, and then I'm going to claim. I'm going to say, yeah, he wouldn't have been there without me. And
Hey, man, I'll sign an autograph someday. How's that?
yeah, because before we started recording, I was telling Anthony about, I used to live in Daytona Beach and I used to watch Stuart Scott as the weekend sports anchor in Orlando. And he was just a little Dickie V. He wanted to be Dick Vitale. And he was over the top, no pun intended. He was bombastic, right? Uh, but then he jumped to ESPN2. Then, like you said, one of the best in the business on ESPN.
True legend.
And so I hope your career follows a similar trajectory. And you better believe I'm going to tell all my friends, yeah, he wouldn't have been there without me. I,
I hope you do too, and I'll vouch for it. Hey, he's right. He's right,
now,
guys.
No, you got the
He's still
talent.
1-1 in my show.
Oh
We
man.
have to have a rubber, I guess.
Hey, hey, everybody! You don't have to worry about Anthony stabbing you in the back. He's coming right up front and getting you.
I got you guys.
All right. Hey, this is Bobby Warren for After Journalism with my special guest Anthony the Sascot Mamasuto from Built-in Buffalo, and he's here to wreck all your NFL dreams. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Go Bills.
I can't believe you ended it that way.